What is up, my friends? Welcome. We are here with your Corporate Esports Association Fall 2025 Grand Finals. We're going to kick things off with some Overwatch here today. We've got all titles here starting to kick off. We get into the start of our holiday season. My name's Jeff. I'm here with Tugboat here today. As we're going to kick things off with some Overwatch, as I mentioned. We have got General Motors, or we've got Microsoft Excelsior taking on GM Alpha here for your finals. Kick things off.
Yes, it's been a longer season. Swiss style, anybody unfamiliar with that, essentially means that everybody gets to play the same amount of matches. Then after each victory, teams are kind of evaluated based on wins and losses and play similar teams, right? So it's not just going to be, it's not one of your many other formats. It's a little bit more of a evolving format as the regular season goes on. But the cream of the crop has risen to the top. We have a Microsoft Excelsior, General Motors up here. One of these teams has not lost a single map across this entire finals bracket thus far, Bullskunk. That's just a verifiable fact.
Yeah, that is going to be Microsoft Excelsior starting on the left-hand side of your screen there. Have come through flawless through this 4-team bracket to make their way into this grand finals. GM Alpha looking for that rematch as they did face them in that winner's bracket final. As you can see, drop that one in an 0-3. But you know what? They're in turn able to take their own 3-0 over the Red Hat Chili Peppers. What a hilarious name. And fight their way back and a chance for some redemption and some revenge here in these grand finals.
Yes. So this will be a rematch. If you're a General Motors Alpha fan, you're going to be hoping this one goes a little bit differently than it did last time. One of the ways it will certainly go differently, even if it goes similarly one way, is that this will be a first to 4 here, Bullskunk. We'll be taking a look at a little bit of a longer series here on the day than what we've seen through this bracket for the playoffs here for the Corporate Esports Association. Big shout out to Luna as well, Amazon Luna. Fantastic gaming capabilities, and helps put on competitions just like this one.
Yeah, our wonderful sponsor there from Amazon Luna wouldn't be possible without them. I do appreciate their help. And of course, these teams are playing for some wonderful charities as well.
Yes.
That's but the whole point here of this event is, you bring people together here from inside your companies, but you also get to play for an opportunity to raise some money for some awesome charities. And so, we do definitely want to take a moment and shout those out. You got GM Alpha is playing for the Nature Conservancy, which has local chapters all over the country, protecting wildlife in a myriad of ways. And then Microsoft Excelsior playing for the N88 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline.
Yes. Hey, both organizations making the world a quantifiably better place, and they'll be benefiting from the victors here on the day, as is the standard here for the CEA. We were talking a little bit about this in the pre-show, right? I've been working with CEA for several years now. I believe you've been doing the same. They're always,
Sure.
Always fantastic folks with a really cool idea, and that is that providing individual companies just like a little bit extra for their employees to go forth, work together, right? Call it team building, call it just, fun gaming, whatever you want to call it. I think pretty cool.
Hey, you know what? It's better to trust fall exercise. All right, Tugboat. I think it's better than falling backwards off of a milk crate. You know what? I would rather trust them to play a good support in Overwatch and keep me alive as your tank. That is real trust building right there, my friend.
Yes. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And also, just the level of communications that takes and comes along with playing some of these higher level esports, especially a game like Overwatch. Just to compare it, not the esports by any means, just compare the communications between the two. Rocket League, for example, like you don't really have a whole lot of time for like crisp communications. Simple fact of Overwatch is you can have full on conversations. You can darn near write a novel in between getting team wiped if you need to go forth and really determine what it is that your team needs to do and what it is that you don't want to allow the other team to do given the next team fight. We'll see how those communications and more have brought these teams together as we hop into this one in just a little bit. I do believe we have our first map here, Bull Skunk.
Yes, well, we'll see what kind of story our team's going to write today. Is it going to be a novella? Is it a short story? We shall see. First map pick did go over to Microsoft with that 3-0 win coming through the winners bracket. They got our choice. You got picked for first map here today. It is going to be Atlas to kick things off. So the way this is working, you can choose between any game type that hasn't been played yet. There is a little caveat to the first map where there were symmetric game types available. What a fun word that is. But past that, you can pick between any game type, any map that has yet to be played.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting wording there, but yes, this will be following kind of the traditional stuff, right? Loser will have their choice between map pick, server location, and side, right? Attack, defense. Winner of the previous map will get second selection from there. If these two teams are fighting anywhere near playing are connected anywhere close to each other, I can't imagine really. It'll frequently be that server location decision, right? That'll kind of be the default third, and you know, we don't really care about that one unless, you know, these two individual teams are playing on like opposite sides of the country or something like that. So generally, you're going to see offense, defense being the second pick. They're both Skunk.
I kind of like the idea that they are fighting, though. All right, this is a battleground. All right,
yes.
You know, fun and games. We are done with fun and games. This is serious stuff. Okay, not so much, not so much. I mean, you know, they definitely want to win. They definitely want to win. But, you know, fun and games are anticipated, are expected to be had here. As we get set for this first map, Atlas, of course, is one of our Flashpoint maps. The objective here, you want to capture three of the 5 Flashpoints. You take the map. Atlas, being a very close quarters, tends to be a little bit more, you know, ground and pound style map because of its very close quarters geometry, whichever I'm trying to say. All of those geo words.
All of those geo words.
More geo words too.
Kind of, yeah, simple geometry. Isn't that the tagline there? Hanzo. We don't see a whole lot of Hanzo anymore, do we? As it is.
True.
Yeah. Anybody unfamiliar with Flashpoint? In case you haven't played Overwatch in, I don't know, a year or so, something like this. Basically, you're just looking at like kind of 3 mini controls right there within the one, and not the sort of best of 3 format within a single map, right? You're looking at that. Or best of 3, first of 2, however you want to put it. We gotta say first of 4 because technically there is ties capable within the great game of Overwatch. I think it's only happened twice for Overwatch 2 for myself. I know that you cover a solid bit of Overwatch, so perhaps it's happened more often for you. Ties, any ties on maps?
I mean, you don't get as much draws in Overwatch 2 as we did back in Overwatch 1, right? With your removal of Assault. Assault game mode was the biggest, I think the biggest purveyor of draws. But they do still happen. And so, yeah, like you said, the vernacular does matter. You know, it is possible to get draws. And even on Escort and Flashpoint, although they are, I mean, not Flashpoint, but Push. Though they are extremely, I've seen one draw on Push where it was both teams capped on the point, both teams had the exact number of meterage, and then both teams died in the final fight, and there was nobody left. The bot was left in the middle. It was just a straight nobody on bot, and it tied. This is the only time I've seen Push draw. But it is, I mean, we're talking, that is a blue moon. I think that is, you know, not something I would expect to see here today.
No. It's just one of those things. We want to prepare you guys for the possibilities. Obviously, draws will be treated as nothing within the first to 4 format, right? You have to take a map to add that to your total. If we do get a draw, that'll basically be a chalk, and we'll go back to exactly where we were before there. Before we hop on into this one, I want to give a shout out to our production staff here on the day. That is Rhino, producing away and making our jobs as casters that much easier. Bull Skunk, like I always say, we're just 2 guys screaming about esports in our rooms without our production staff. So without you guys, really, none of this stuff would really happen. Very, very much appreciate our production staff. That's Rhino here. Rhino VOD, excuse me. Use the full name. Use the full government name there, Bull Skunk, right?
You know what? It is kind of an interesting point. Without Rhino, we really would just be talking to a computer screen. Like, nobody would be able to hear us. It'd be really
Wouldn't be
weird.
interesting.
We would, you know, I mean, I have my own best friend. It's okay. It's okay. You know, they say talking
It would
to yourself
remind me.
is good for processing.
It's true. It reminded me of beginning casting and practicing casting before I actually did the thing. You know, getting nervous for stuff and wanting to practice with somebody over that's not actually being broadcasted. That's really what it would be. And again, there's not much entertainment value to that, folks. So again, huge shout out to our production staff. Let's talk a little bit meta, right? You've been obviously covering a whole lot of Overwatch recently. Are there any, you know, if any of these guys are like, you know, super locked into what's popular as of right now, what's something we might be able to see on Atlas?
Well, Atlas does tend to play a lot more. We tend to need a lot more brawl, just because, like I mentioned, you have your very close quarters points. Now, the fun thing about Flashpoint is, you know, unlike Control, you do get a different variety of types of points to capture. So you can. Some will have a little more high ground than others. Some will have more, you know, rotations, more range to work with than others. Atlas tends to play a lot more just in your face, close quarters. I would anticipate we're gonna be seeing, you know, probably the Ramatra here. Ramatra did recently get a buff. Maga also kind of got indirectly buffed as well with Orisa taking a nerf. So a lot of the ground and pound tanks have become more prevalent. We've also seen a majority of dive heroes. 4 dive heroes took nerfs in the most recent patch here that we got for season 19. So that includes Tracer, Genji, Kiriko, and Wrecking Ball all took nerfs. So it's really kind of pushed us more into this brawl direction.
Yeah, the Tracer nerf. I mean, depending on who you talk to, right? It was either saved the game or destroyed it. And this is the way the video games have gone since the dawn of time, folks. But Cassie saw some change. Yeah. We could talk about changes and how we preferentially like them or dislike them all day long, really. They were necessary. I feel like most of them were necessary, and excited for the next step in Overwatch, right? Wu Yang.
We keep things fresh.
Been exciting as well. Yes, you got to keep things fresh.
Yeah, you just got to keep things fresh. And Dive had been starting to take over a little bit. And so now we have definitely shifted more towards a brawl style meta. I think what you were starting to say is, you know, we did see a buff to Cassidy, a pretty significant buff to the duration of the stun on the flashbang. That went, I think, from like 0.8 to 1.1 or something, which 0.3 seconds doesn't sound like a lot, but if you start thinking about the percentage on that, I mean, it's something like an extra 40% stun time, which, trust me, when you're playing as a Tracer and you're smashing that E trying to get your recall out, that extra 0.3 feels like an eternity, Tugboat.
No, it really does. And this is one of those things that may not even ultimately be like a huge difference at like super high levels, but at lower levels, when people just need that extra just tiny little bit to actually respond to these stuns and whatnot, yeah, it can seem oppressive for those that it may be used against. Looking at it here, I think we might have a couple things behind the scenes need to get figured out before we do get this one started here, Bull Skunk. I think a short break might be in our future.
Yeah, we had a little bit of a player connection issue. So give us a second. We're going to figure that out. When we come back, we'll get right into your grand finals. Don't go away. We appreciate your patience. We are ready to go. Get into your grand finals here between Microsoft Excelsior and General Motors Alpha. We got Frogkey in, Frogkey, but they're playing on a hotspot here. Talk about this could be a pretty precarious situation. We'll see how it plays out.
It's entirely fair. Entirely fair. DPS character on the hot spot. I feel like this is going to be like worth 1.5 wins if then Microsoft Excelsior does go forth, take this one down. Taking a look at the other side, we've got Rinzuwu, Daddy Willie, Reborn, Spark, and Razorblade making up the General Motors Alpha squad.
5, 4, 3, 2.
As a reminder, Microsoft Excelsior have not dropped a map in this postseason thus far. Let's see what they're able to do here.
Kind of divey look here from General Motors Alpha. A little bit of poke damage here early. Not really going to be involved until the Winston goes.
Oh, a monster. It's got a big early charge punch there out of Nev, but it's going to be Spark. Actually comes up with first blood. Got to get the follow up on that, and that'll just give cap over to GM Alpha. Team comes through lower bracket. We'll start off with control.
My goodness, yeah. Fantastic stuff, and I'm not going to get away from this Winston. Yeah, this was just a slow burn here from General Motors. They'll tickle there from Reborn over on the Winston. Daddy Willie softened him up. Rinzu, a lot of finishing blows right there. So a solid first step here for this General Motors Alpha squad.
Gotta go.
A lot of pressure in on Reborn. They're able to throw it away. Counter punch. You had Frogkey and Mango moving in to try to assassinate the Winston. They're able to thwart both DPS and even take one down. Let them 5v4 now. Hold on to this point. Continue building up percentage. Looking for a kill on the shop. And Susie used there from Swoo. Of course, this is up to Microsoft to try to find an opening onto this point. Never gets thwarted. Oh, brought down. And Rins will come up with a very important kill. 80% towards that Death Blossom. 75% on the board.
Yeah, Daddy Willie's just providing so much value, and there's going to be even more off the backside. Can't really call it a full-on stagger, given that they'll probably be spawning up with the rest of them, and regardless, this point will be going over for General Motors Alpha. Yeah, nobody there. Taking a look at the ultimates as of right now. Sport Ultimate up here for General Motors. They'll be joined to the Death Blossom and that EMP here soon. Celsior is just staring down the barrel of Doomfist as of right now. I think they're going to need a little bit more than that in the form of a sound barrier here soon from Chabon. Chabon? What did you say earlier?
I think we're with Chabon. I don't know what Chabon.
I like it.
Yeah. Apologies if that's not correct. It's going to be EMP versus that sound barrier. Nevin's going to go down early. Kitsune Rush actually investing first. That is GM Alpha on this point. Beautiful little virus and the kill. That's going to be no further ultimates needed. GM Alpha will grab control once again.
Yep, did this with just that Kiriko ultimate as well. Good news here for Microsoft and fans thereof. They're going to be absolutely glowing coming in. Excuse me, Mango switching on over towards the Reaper, then back to Tracer. Okay.
Talked about the other Tracer and Kiriko all taking nerfs here. And Alpha have been able to use kind of different heroes and still play it as guidance style. That's his Death Blossom ready to go. EMP unleashed first. Rocky's going to go down. Sound barrier lands from Spark. Played second. Usually the second sound barrier is a better sound barrier. She's just going to flip underneath and a Kitsune Rush out of GM Alpha to help protect their cap. Meteor Strike. Bot's going to pick up one. Meteor Strike's going to land down. Got Spark with a big punch. Bingo with the follow-up. We're seeing some wonderful team play. Some coordinated assault here. Microsoft Celsius keeping themselves in this. 2 late kills. Keep it going. We're down to 1v2. At the very end of this exciting fight, Rins will fall. Microsoft getting the first fight win of the day.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned it, the way that this was cheekily done, like you said, just they just slowly repositioned and rotated this team fight until their backline was essentially on this kind of northeastern corner of this point. This was a fantastic job. Waiting in the wings and looking for a pick there is Mango. Move on along as this team fight
right now. And guess what? Rins isn't going to need that Death Blossom to take one back. That just looks way too easy. I think Froggy was trying to do too much there. Talk about it.
Yeah, I think so as well. Sometimes, especially with that huge source of damage on the Reaper, Desire can be there, now getting hyper aggressive to come back. But hey, Reborn can afford to do this, especially when you got a little bit of support.
Froggy, is the one having to play on a hotspot, is having some connection issues. That's maybe used to playing more aggressive into the face of the opponent, but when we have some tech issues, I think it's best to play just slow and steady.
Fair. Entirely fair. We talk about ultimates again right now because GM Alpha is 100% on top of that one. Only thing they're really, really close to is that Kiriko ultimate and that Death Blossom. Still, I mean, only 10% away. Here comes the tickle. There's the Kiriko ultimate for GM Alpha.
He layered on top is going to hit whatever remained of the Microsoft ranks. With only 3, Nevis gets the sliver of health, but GM Alpha walk away with a 2-0 lead here in your first map.
Yeah, so fantastic job. And what GM Alpha wants to do, they just keep continuing to succeed in doing, right? And there's a lot to be said for having a game plan.
I mean, they're looking at all the control. They're forcing Microsoft to kind of flow. Actually, look at the clapback. Microsoft, you're dropping a Kitsu. You got a beautiful effort out of Chabad. The lead in is the GM Alpha got pushed back. And we're seeing some signs of life. For Microsoft Excelsior getting aggressive, and it works out for them.
Yeah, and just like that as well, right? Like they chase down Spark, Reborn can't get out without the little bit of damage or healing assistance, but more so that speed, right? Once that's eliminated, it's just chase down the tank. Fantastic job.
More options not used to try to fight getting popped into the Froggy. A lot of damage done, and you do get that Winston ultimate out. Spark falls. Mango with a beautiful shot follows up on that Death Blossom, removes the sound barrier as an option, and Microsoft Excelsior have fought back from a just completely obliterated, decimated economy, and they've been able to win these past couple fights. Beautifully done. 50% on the board here.
Nev with a corner shot onto their counterpart. See that Winston back in the respawn room. Switch coming on to Sig. I feel like this makes a whole lot of sense, especially since Mango has had a lot of value since switching over to that Sojourn. This is just more of that middle range chip damage, finishing off players out there. And now it's going to be a better range.
The knife lands. Oh, chunky shots on Vaughn. Both Lucios actually out of the fight. Both sound barriers take it down with it. That's the Suzu out, Razorblade escapes with about 25 health. Reborn brought down though. 3v3 on the point as the Kiriko gets hunted down and Microsoft Excelsior get their first point on the board. Rinse is going to get a little dance of death on the back of the objective, but it's too little too late to take this point.
Yeah, so I understand the idea to try to have cleared this, but I mean, it's just a classic, oh, well, if I had gotten there about a half second, right? Is what it is. Not going to be a quick one here for General Motors Alpha. We'll be seeing at least a little bit of fight coming out of this Microsoft Excelsior squad. And as a reminder, folks, this is a rematch. So the winners finals went 3-0 Microsoft Excelsior.
Leap it in. Oh, Reborn gets a mean opening kill. It is straight it back, and Nev's aggression, 2 for 1, doubling down on that pick from Reborn. He does still have this primal in the pocket. So far, nobody in control. Nev finds their third of the point. Smart. Hesitant to use that sound barrier, and, well, that hesitancy is going to cost him.
Trying to juggle right here, but no cloud. Reborn gets him down, chase there with the assistance of the squad. Gotta love. You have to, you know what, I love it when a plan comes together. I have to love it when a Winston is able to not just push, but reposition consistently, full skunk, and then still find value. The first 75% of that pursuit right there wasn't even assisted by their teammates.
Very, very well timed from Nev. Summer into this final team. They actually get it in. Death lost it down. Spark lands the bait. The second summer is thrown in. The Rampage will eventually overwhelm Froki. And after the dust is settled, the queues have been pressed. G and Alpha win their first team fight in a little bit.
Was that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Possibly, yeah, 5 ultimates dropped right here. Both barriers, both Kiriko ultimates throw Death Blossom into that garden.
Yeah, but
for a little bit of flavor.
Yeah, Rampage from Reborn as well.
That's crazy. Yeah, you're 100% right. That's really what kicked this off and ultimately led to the difference here for GM Alpha, wasn't it?
It was enormous and kind of just whittled down the cooldowns. Okay, very important coming already out from GM Alpha. That is going to be the go sign. Ned sees that point cooldown used, knows there's an opening. There's got 3 shotguns in the face of this Winston right now, and still Ned is able to survive. Forrest is back. Already got 1 pick on the board. You see it as soon as they come out, and Nev immediately follows. The white flash out of Razorblade, the last bastion of hope. And he's going to get aggressive. With no more defensive capabilities, Daddy Willie and Winston decide to push forward. It works out for him.
I dig the stall idea here, but even so, I mean, 70% from here, your team might have preferred to have the Lucio back to speed boost in. I mean, no, this is just too far, isn't it?
It's going to be close. It's at about 65, 70%. 65 is usually the magical number for getting their whole team back. So there is definitely a chance that we get a touch here. We got the Ned swap to the Zarya and Frunky with an opening pick already. 97%. We got to get a touch in. Good shout. O-team fight. As the overclock in from Mango. See if they can tilt this one back. Force a fifth and final flashpoint. The Rampage is enormous. That hit everybody. Who was only able to shoot themselves. Microsoft Excelsior hang on though. Health bars got low but never fell all the way down. And Microsoft Excelsior forced a 5th point.
Fantastic job. I was looking at Chapon here and not knowing if they were actually going to be able to get the squad on out there. No, they didn't even need the squad. Keep your speed boost. I'll get there with my own 2 legs. Fantastic job there from Microsoft Excelsior, especially with that never say die attitude, right? You're staring down the barrel of Reborn. As you mentioned, a fantastic ultimate just painted the picture all the way across pretty much every living member, all 4 living members of that squad. Nobody gave up. Nobody stopped shooting. Nobody retreated. Came out on top.
And now Microsoft Excelsior take it to the bank. Rocky's going to open up with a triple, and first cap goes to Microsoft on this final flashpoint.
Roki says, my hotspot is a buff, you fools. I faked the connection issues.
The hotspot buff?
Hotspot buff.
Never see it coming. They never see it coming. We did get the Kiriko out in that fight, though. Look for Razorblade with this Kitsune rush in this next approach.
Catch you later.
And back to Daddy Willie on team. This is on the can't really be surprised when they found so much value with it earlier. You can't be surprised when Daddy Willie does not get out in time.
Slew at the high ground, lands a beautiful kunai. A very low reborn, stuck it around the corners, able to find Spawn. Takes a all-important ultimate. That Salve are no longer available. Spark's gonna drop theirs. Only hits 3. Grab in from Nev. Trades from the Zarya. The Nev gets the MTD on the reborn. Wins out the Zarya head-to-head. Turns that high charge onto these squishy targets. Oh, the Reaper chasing it down. Ren gets the headshots, gets the red X needed, puts the Zarya into the dirt. I think GM Alpha's got a shred of hope. I don't know. Is Ren's gonna get out of this? No shot! No shot!
No way, teleported to the wall just because they knew that their Lucio was coming back. That's a melee and then Sonic Blast. Oh,
Quacky has got 2 kills here, though. GM Alpha has managed to get the flip, but there's an overclock in play. Bango's got 2 with that OC, and this map is done. Microsoft have swung a 2-0 deficit here to win map 1.
Fantastic job right here. That is everything that the doctor ordered. Microsoft Excelsior, a fantastic round win W. Wow, yeah, Atlas going their way here after it definitely didn't start that way, Bullscum. The General Rose Alpha, benefactor of Nature Conservatories, really putting a solid foot forward there.
That was that big aggressive push in the Death Blossom, and that was a moment where we had seen Microsoft early in the map was just so far down in the economy. I mean, they had just absolutely just destroyed everything that they had. We saw at one point, I think it was an 0-4 ultimate difference, an ultimate advantage there for GM Alpha, and then there in that fight, when we see that play of the game, that Death Blossom, it had swung completely the other direction. They're able to win a fight using just Froggy's Death Blossom. Not usually one you consider super high value compared to your support ultimates, right? I mean, what a swing there out of Microsoft.
Really was. Anybody watching this one was thinking, oh my goodness, is this the first time that Microsoft Excelsior seems like they're going to be dropping a map in this one, go down 2-0 early, come roaring back on this one. But all jokes aside about Frogkey's hotspot or whatever, right? Perhaps it's just needed like a little bit of, getting more used to what is not like that ideal wired, Google Fiber, whatever connection, right? So maybe a little bit there. I'd hate to really point my fingers in any one thing because this really was the result of Microsoft Excelsior playing fantastically together and trusting their teammates. There's not a better example of that than when we saw the Reborn ultimate from that Junker Queen on the other side. Everybody's anti all the way through. I will say a little bit, maybe a tiny little bit of a panic from the Kiriko on the cleanse, only getting herself right. Of course, the ultimate comes through and they all scatter a little bit, so it's going to be a little bit harder to find value from that. But given the amount of players that were there, it might have been like, oh well, we have a little bit of wiggle room right here because the Junker Queen can only do so much by herself, and so maybe wait for cleanse, whatever. Doesn't even matter. That's my point. It didn't even matter because that is the way the Microsoft Excelsior played the rest of that team fight all the way out, even with the Junker Queen getting a little bit assistance at the end, even with Reborn getting a little bit of assistance towards the end.
That was, I mean, on a knife's edge of being a complete team fight win for GM Alpha. That Rampage just taking everybody down. I mean, as you pointed out, the Suzu was not good there from Microsoft, but they were able to hang on. I mean, just barely. Yeah, they're just able to duck around the corner, and the follow was just not quite there for GM Alpha. Yeah, that was such an important pivotal moment, and I mean, you got to give a lot of credit to Microsoft for their adaptations as well. You talk about the Junker Queen. It was one of 3 tanks used out of GM through that map. And they found a lot of success early with the Winston, coming in with the Winston Sombra Reaper. But wonderful adjustments out of Microsoft. And then you start forcing the changes on the other side. Reborn struggling to kind of find where they wanted to land. Try the Junker Queen, try the Zarya at the end. Never quite able to find an answer to the counters brought by Microsoft.
Some of this felt like, especially with the Zarya, and sure, I do love Zarya. I feel like she's a great hero, right? But I feel like it might not have been, and his Flashpoint too. So take this with a fat grain of salt. That's what I'm saying. But it kind of sounded like there wasn't enough time spent on some of these tanks for the rest of the composition here for General Motors to really get it together and like focus on exactly what it is that they want to do. And kind of get a taste of that first team fight of how Microsoft Excelsior is going to react to these various heroes, right? Again, there's a fine line between wasting time on a composition that isn't working and then dedicating enough time to seeing if one is, right?
Yeah.
I personally, I might have gone a little bit more towards like actually playing the composition. But again, you talk about Zarya and talk about flashpoints. Obviously, she ain't very fast, y'all. She's not a fast mover, and flashpoint obviously requires requires here to be in multiple places. Sometimes it seems.
And part of that could just be a map type thing. We talked about how Atlas is a little bit more ground and pound. And we saw that reflected. Now GM Alpha able to pick through, take it somewhere they want to go. That was a Microsoft map pick, so remember that as well. We saw GM Alpha leaning towards the Sombra Reaper early, leaning towards that Winston early. Do we see a map that is more favorable to that, right? They were trying to play that into a map that does not favor the Winston, that does not favor the Sombra Hartley at all. So, that alone might, could turn the tides here, could shift things into GM's favor.
Definitely true. Definitely true. I guess we don't have as much information as far as how what composition these teams played all the way throughout the regular season and whatnot, but we'll kind of see how this goes here. And really, as far as like predictions is what they would be playing, we don't have the map as of right now. This will be General Motors picking what is almost certainly the map, and then Microsoft Excelsior picking attack, defense, or server location, which for one of these players may not really matter so much. What do you want server location closer to you so your one player on a hotspot can get can get at the least bad effect from that hotspot, or what? What's the thinking here, Bullskunk?
I don't know. I think our map pick is probably the most important aspect of this, which we did get come through here just in this past few seconds. As it looks like we are headed to Busan. We're going to Control for map number 2. Again, GM Alpha had the pick of any game type other than Flashpoint. Yeah, they decided to go to Busan. This is interesting. I don't know that this leans any more into the Winston Reaper Summer that we were seeing. Like, I'm not sure that this fits my narrative at all here. Talk about.
Take it up, throw it out the window. It doesn't fit Bullskunk's narrative. No.
Somebody didn't read the script.
No, seriously, and this is a lot more open. And plus, with that verticality, at least within first point here on Busan, I'm going to be interested in see how these compositions do change up, because categorical switches will be necessary from the Atlas map that we just looked at, especially map to map within the sub map to sub map, or however you want to say it within Control.
We are going to get one substitution as we get ready to head into this mapping in here. Is loading in. We'll have Sherlock coming in for Razor, I believe. Oh, excuse me, not Razor, for Spark. Sherlock coming in for Spark. Here as we get it ready for your second map.
Port for GM Alpha, if I remember right. Spark and Razorblade.
Yes, that sounds right.
See how this continues to go here and what compositions we will get on the backside. As far as what worked for Microsoft in game number 1, Nev and pretty much every tank that they played, I really did like Frogkey and how they how they worked with this Reaper. Now, Genji Reaper with the Winston, yeah, I'm not against this whatsoever. You can throw a little Kiriko longer range healing in there, but GM Alpha might really have the recipe to cook here. Ana, with a more longer range, Winzu will be able to sit back with them and provide them that support in the backline if they do get dived, if Mango and Frogkey do get way too aggressive.
Go backwards from what I anticipated. Probably see Reborn try to play a little bit more of this Winston. No, in fact, F4 and pulling out the scientist. Already an aggressive push right through the main street. Going to use the bubble, block a little bit of initial damage. Oh, but Reborn cutting down Mango in the meantime. Obviously, that one key defensive utility there from the Genji is completely null and void against this giant photon cannon out of the Zarya.
Reborn has done a great job of just providing that centralized point on which the hinge of the General Mills Alpha door swings. Longer range chip damage in for General Mills as well. Chippon's gonna fall first. Not a fantastic first pick here. Microsoft Excelsior.
Yeah, and then Frosty kind of ends up stuck. You don't have the speed to get out at that point. It's just a beautiful shot there out of Daddy Willie. What flexibility? You don't often see a player proficient in both like the Sombra and the Sojourn. Those are two very opposite skill sets.
It's very, very true. Very true. But yeah, like longer range capabilities onto the Sojourn versus the kind of up close and personal in your face. And get out while the get is good here for Sombra.
Yeah.
Microsoft's been a really, really disconnected team fight so far, man.
I feel like Microsoft bought a lot of space early. They kind of were able to stage in Overwatch Theater. Now you can see the result of that. They have completely collapsed in, crouched GM into a corner, and things got very claustrophobic for the team in red. We're going to flip here. Microsoft get control.
Yeah, longer as it may have been, and of course they did get over about half of this 0.55% to be exact from General Motors. Let's take a look at the ultimate charges right now. Got a couple glowing from Microsoft Excelsior. Just that Nano Blade as of right now, or not Nano Blade, just that Nano Boost, excuse me, here for General Motors. But yeah, getting it going without any other ultimates on board is going to be difficult. Now with the entirety of the healing port decimated, General Motors is going to be a short.
Yeah, that was just a nasty shot out of Frucky. Jump scares, sure. And that was it. Headshot onto your carry, fight's over. That's, I mean, unless you can immediately you want to invest in Nano or something, but GM Alpha played the safe way, they just reset.
Yeah, 4, now 5 in a couple of seconds here for Rinzu as well once this Blizzard comes online. General Motors, their biggest issue, I feel like, is not necessarily playing together here. There's the barrier. There should be enough. And it is a wild, not for the Blizzards though. They get almost went out.
It was the Kyrio. I believe it was the Kyrio. Also the power of a sound barrier through that. So 4 ultimates, 5 ultimates they invested for GM Alpha. I think it was actually just the 4. You had double support ults thrown. No, it was just the main support ultimate. They used the Nano Boost. They did not use their Kitsu into that fight. So he was able to invest. Microsoft wins that using fewer ultimates in both as well. We got a DPS ult was thrown into GM Alpha. Now things have gotten really messy. General Motors just trying to see if they can put together one final fight here, Tugboat.
Yeah, and even look at this. I mean, this is almost like a panic over out of this Kiriko, hitting the back and tickling the Cassidy. If they keep this team back, yeah, I was going to say, someone's got to touch here within the next couple of seconds. They're doing a great job of providing that anchor upon which to tank out. A lot of rev into it, though.
Yeah, I got point blank with the shotguns. Reaper went out that duel. Woo answers back. Runs up to the Reaper, but you didn't want none of that smoke. Rids will end up winning that fight. Daddy only comes up with the Red X kill on Mango, and GM Alpha win this one out, messy as it might have been.
Switch. Okay. Got a deciding between the Diva and the Zarya over there for General Motors. Calamity back in a second. So this would be an elongated team fight if they so choose to take it. I mean, obviously they can't know that Vinci doesn't have it yet, and then Froki does, but getting this one off and getting that death buff onto this Reaper and making sure they don't get out afterwards is going to be crucial right here. Oh, they 5-1. The heat comes a little bit late.
Yeah, I mean, that's a one kill, but very swift picks from the other side. And GM Alpha might be able to win this out despite losing both of their supports. Rids with a huge takedown on the Mango, taking out a lot of your stall capability, removing the tracer from this fight. Here comes Shaban and Nev back onto this point. We want to return on a Diva. Death Blossom is now hit from Rids who are on the point, protected by the defense matrix and the Suzu, but cannot find any kills. That's 2 skulls on the board here from the Deadeye, and they'll get them both. GM Alpha now on track to take this opening round. There goes the yellow bar. That'll be a 1-0 lead here on Busan.
Great job from Daddy Willie. The trigger discipline, right? That's what they'd say. Just simply waiting, and on the other side, Shaban thinks, I mean, so sound barrier down, they kind of go up in their face like a little bit to begin with. Because they have that barrier, they can take that Deadeye, right? But like all of us, time is undefeated. About a half second, 3/4 of a second is really the only window that you have within that sound barrier. That extra healing goes. Daddy Willie just feasts. After that, nobody is able from the Microsoft Excelsior to even touch a toe onto point. And that's going to be the first like definitive win here for General Motors since what, the first two they strung together on the Flashpoint.
Greetings. 1. Round 2. Capture the objective.
The dream team! I'm the dream!
Stick with the Czar and GM Alpha sticking with this wall. Led by the Eagle. What a wall! What an opening pick there for GM Alpha. He answers back to every time Microsoft needed an answer. Smooth has been right there. Defying the trade. That's been a fun one on the Sherlock. Razor Blade low, and your second support now brought down. By GM Alpha finding first pick. They're falling in this fight. Smooth delivers an answering pick once again, and nobody in control.
Able to get out of this one is this Kiriko, but they should. Wow, okay, so first point's actually going to be given right here. This D.Va could just kind of chill and eat up a whole bunch of stuff with a couple of DPS nearby as well. That's not what we end up seeing as Brokey does get chased down. Daddy Willie, Cassidy, and the rest of.
Yeah, it was an impossible task for Slow. They're trying to keep both of their DPS alive. They do sneak 13% away from that initial task. Now the aggressive move in from Nev, hoping to hunt down the deal. Actually turns their attention on to Daddy Willie. Get the high damage Cassie out of that fight if they can, but it backfires. You get walled in. Nev sent back to spawn. Now Reborn does get DMX, so we're fighting Sans tanks from both of our teams here for the moment. 4 versus 4.5, we'll say, with the Pilot D.Va on board. Look for Ridge with this Blizzard coming up soon.
And Nev now switching on over to the Ram. That's going to be the first time we see Ramatra across either of these. Mango has that ultimate available, finds the first onto Reborn, that mini-max version. Daddy Willie is now getting chased down. That's a speed. Oh my goodness, right into the cabeza. Daddy Willie. I think they had a good idea there. Nobody puts Cassidy into a corner. Well, they do with a couple of headshots.
It's ambitious. I respect the ambition. Oh, Reborn. That's an acid stagger, actually. They did you a favor there, Reborn.
Match this BPM.
You'll be able to get with the rest of the squad here soon, but 25% is exactly half what DM had mustered across these two. 1, 2, 3 ultimates here for Excelsior available for Alpha. The only thing they don't have is the Deadeye. They probably were missing right now.
Down was balls to my friend. Barely gets that sound barrier down. Okay, gets Razor Blade with the Death Blossom. I don't know if that orbital ray hit or faded. Either way, I don't think it's going to be enough to wrestle Alpha back in this fight. Not with Nev pulling Daddy Willie down. The pass is dead. Rinz never gets a chance to throw out the Blizzard. And Alpha just have to reset.
Yeah, Reborn was never, not never, I don't want to say never, but it was going to be really, really difficult to find a whole lot of value right there when the two dealing with each other, right? Because D.Va does not have enough left.
Mango does get caught in the amp speed. Not able to get out, or caught in the Blizzard rather. Not able to get into speed out. Nev picks up too with the Annihilation. And once again, Smooth delivers an important pick. This one's going to be a D-Mac. Oh, it's a nasty kunai leads to a kill into Sherlock as well. So now a very broken fight gets us down to a 2v1 at this point as Shaban returns. Finds a kill under Reborn, helps Nev secure a kill under Rins as well. Microsoft Excelsior will flip this objective.
Wow. Man, so General Motors maybe dedicating a little bit. There is definitely time, I feel like, Full Scum, let me know how you feel about this, but there's time just to give points over, right? Especially with the numbers here. It's not frequent, but with the numbers right here, given that General Motors is only looking at a single team fight, but they would be getting to this and basically be on point right now if they had just given this one over and stayed alive. Well, maybe that's the situation that's going to be given on over towards them. Renzu on the Mei. Hanging out the point.
Yeah, it's already his crown free. It's very vulnerable. Kitsu onto the point, and Microsoft Excelsior played this one perfectly. So they wait just those couple of precious seconds needed to give themselves the edge. They wait for that cryo freeze to fade away, and that Kitsu seals the deal. We're tied up at 1 here on Busan.
Yeah, somebody on the squad at least needed a touch show on the point, even if you give up the life for it. Well, the end result would have been the same. Wanted to, I don't think we mentioned this earlier, so I want to go ahead and say, dollar amounts of money as they will be given on over towards organizations that make this world a better place. Again, Microsoft Excelsior, that is 988 Suicide Crisis Hotline. General Motors Alpha, that is Nature Conservatories. $1,000 split 60-30-10. We will be playing a third place, or not playing a third place match. We already have a third place match, right? That'll be Red Hat Chili Peppers. Once again, Love that name, man. Love that name.
I'm here.
Pretty funny. Okay, so Reborn with an interesting swap. Goes into a Wrecking Ball. He already kind of playing spy here, sneaking in to the back line of Microsoft. Yeah, you get the old boop and scoop. You got a couple whiffs of that. But the damage has to get out. You also get Daddy Willie still over to a Soldier 76 here as we head into Sanctuary.
Shaban down here and early, making most of this point without even utility here. No, that's finally going to back up, and now it's Microsoft Excelsior's time. I mean, I take that back. I was going to say, oh, well, maybe it's their time to give a point. Then it's his first point. You want to fight this one out. Why not?
Especially with, like, Swoo and Froggy both have teleports. Right? Oh, Swoo's actually going over to an Ana. What an interesting answer. Froggy to a Cassidy.
76 here as well. I mean, Daddy Willie has shown us a lot of value onto this, like the Sombra, excuse me, the Sombra earlier. Just
I mean, value and versatility. Daddy Willie just needs to be able to play any.
Yeah, no. I think that's really what we're looking at. We're just looking at a utility player, right?
Yeah, hyperflex for sure. Beautiful shot at the beginning of the end here for Sherlock and the GM Alpha hold on Sanctuary. They're able to get 38%. Roll that towards a Blizzard though. Pretty important tool. I'd say one of the most effective high value ults in the lobby right now. Actually. If you get a Blizzard down onto the Cass and the Ana, like you're fight win right there.
It really is, and especially if Shabana continues to play these hyper-aggressive frontal rolls. I'm not against it. Shabana's been doing a great job of getting out of this, but see how this continues to go. That's a stun a little bit more, but Reborn, of course, has that health pool. Mango down as well. Excelsior fighting without now. Both these big pieces of the thing.
Jawad trying to get aggressive with the Sound Barrier. It just does not work out. It's too late to hit Mango. They die just before the beat hits. Brucky dies after the Sound Barrier fades, and that important support ultimate goes by the wayside.
I know that Rinzu's got to be thinking the same thing that we were, that a Soldier 76 flank almost gets it as well. Daddy Willie gets it by Sherlock Mo. Razor Blade, well, that's a huge first pick against the Microsoft Excelsior squad. And we have an entirely glowing DM Alpha squad. Shaban done. This third point is looking at DM Alpha.
Yeah, it was an anti and a nano to Rinzu. They're going to get the team. Nev finds Reborn with that self-destruct. A dying wish they're out of Nev. But the continued rush is in play here from Sherlock, and GM Alpha are able to hang on and eventually send Microsoft back. They're matching. They're matching the ball, Soldier.
I'm not against it. This is a really disruptive way to play, right? Every single time the ball attacks, the Soldier 76 needs to be ripping attention and those try rockets on whoever their victim is at that time. Now the drop in the back here. Here comes the Nano. Let's see what Nev does with it.
Yeah, I'm surprised it was Nev that actually got aggressive as opposed to Reborn, who had the mines there. Reborn anti sent back and 3 for 2. Trey, beautiful shot out of Rinzu. How do you hit that headshot? That was nasty. Man, I was not going to amount much at the end, but it looked good.
Hey, style never dies. Never forget that. 45-46% here for the Microsoft Excelsior squad. Staring down the barrel of a 99 on the other time. They cannot give it up on the team fight here. Bullskunk, with which to fight it, they'll have, what's that, Cassidy ultimate. Maybe a minefield here soon. This would actually do a great job of sectioning out this squad and keeping, like, reinforcements coming if they do in the first, like, third or so of the team fight.
Minefield just used to kind of isolate Nev. And an enormous adaptive shield, though, and they're able to roll out. You see all that green there for Nev. This is enormous value.
Oh!
Deadeye just shut down by a beautiful volley of healing rockets. Shaban gets out, very little health, trying to rotate around. 99% on the board for Alpha. We do not get a touch. GM Alpha will tie up the series, winning their map pick here on Busan.
Nicely done. Nicely done. The no touch there at the very, very end all comes down to it. And I got to say, too, a little bit, it feels like this was just poor timing here from Brokey. Yes, they only had like a little bit of time with which to do it, but you're staring Gotta love a double boost. Or at least a single boost. We still take those. But I mean, yeah, you have the Mei on the other side. You have the Soldier 76 on the other side. You have an Ashe on the other side. This is a lot of burst damage and not enough time to get those locks on, especially with how many pillars there are across the middle of this map on Busan.
What an interesting pick. Wonderful versatility out of GM Alpha. They bring in the double flex support look. We see Sherlock subbing in for Spark in this map. And, initially just showing us the Lucio, the same thing that we saw out of Spark. But then we see the real reason. As this map develops, we see the double flex support look come in. We start to see more and more of that versatility out of that front line as well. As Willie just continues to show us just more and more of the depth in that hero pool. And now, all that leads to GM Alpha doing something nobody has done yet in this bracket, and that is take a map off of Microsoft. We are tied up here in your finals. We're going to take a quick break. Microsoft will have map pick when we go in map number 3. We'll see what it is when we return. Don't go away. We're getting ready to head into map 3 of your Overwatch 2 Corporate Esports Association Grand Finals here for Fall 25, brought to you by Amazon Luna. It's Jeff and Tugboat returning here, and we have got a tied finals all knotted up. GM Alpha, the first team to hand Microsoft a map loss to this postseason.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you're this General Motors squad, this has got to feel so darn good. Obviously, you played him during the regular season. Obviously, you just played him there in the grand finals. They would go forth the 3-0, that other red hat chili peppers squad. My goodness, it's a mouthful. It's a mouthful, right?
It is.
They would go on to 3-0 there. Obviously, got to feel good. But to come back right here, the writing was on the wall a little bit. Bull Skunk. The squad hasn't lost a map in the finals bracket thus far, right? Round 1 semifinals, now in the grands, and they just 3-0 this squad. Now we have a tied series, my friend. 1-1 as of right now, first to 4. Course, as we explained earlier here, and a new lease on life for this General Motors Alpha squad.
Yeah, we've got a ball game, friends. We have got ourselves a match. And now we're going to get Microsoft Excelsior getting their map pick once again. So far, each team have gotten to choose one map. So far, each team has one on their map pick. Microsoft Excelsior coming through winner's bracket does mean they got to choose first. That could just be a determining factor when it's all said and done. We'll see how the rest of this wants to play out. Here for map number 3, and well, for their second pick, Microsoft Excelsior are going to be taking us to hybrid. We're going to a little tried and true here, Little King's Row, an old favorite, the second map ever made here in Overwatch, and probably the most definitive map in the game. What does it mean? What do you think about Microsoft taking us to the El Clasico, that is King's Row?
It means that they likely have a squad of players that have been playing this game since 2017, Bullskunk. Got Datu right there in the middle. It's a classic map. The geography, I think I got that one right, it changes categorically from opening point all the way in towards the end. You got big open areas, tall walls, everything. Here on first point, a little bit of twisty, turny, windy, curvy, all the way through that middle, and then a much more like kind of closed-in area that does, of course, open up at the very, very end. All kinds of heroes going to be on the docket at some point in this map. Obviously, initial heroes, an initial point will be a little bit of a different story.
We are going to get some changes coming into map number 3. We are going to have Spark returning into the lineup as we get to set into this King's Row. That's going to be in the support role, specifically the main support role there for Sherlock. We saw Sherlock come in a little bit of double flex support out of GM Alpha. Worked well for him, but we do have, you know, I look to be a traditional Lucio or main support player and Spark returning in. We're also going to get a little bit of a shift up on Microsoft's side. So Senior Cheese is coming in for Croak, yes, in the DPS role, but we're actually seeing Nev move into DPS role and Senior Cheese move into tank. So Froakie Toad's going, or Froakie going out, but a little bit of a little shift around there.
Yeah, and definitely not due to a lack of quality play by any means. We talked a little bit about there, maybe some connection issues. Nev going on to the Widowmaker. What is this, the Great Bamboozle of 2018, 2019 Gladiators up here, Shore 4, pretended to DC, right? Or pretended to be AFK or DC or something like that. Still kept the...
It was just bunched up. He just didn't go. Like you would anticipate the rest. They were anticipating a 6-man rotation. Yeah, the Great Bamboozle was historic, classic play. 2019. It was Goats there. Gotcha. Yeah. Because they expected a full 6 Goats rotation, and then Sure 4 stayed on the Widowmaker. Actually, no, it may have been 2018 playoffs now that I'm thinking about it. Actually, I think it was 2018 playoffs now that I'm thinking about it. Anyway, we also got a side swap as well. You know, we'll be starting off on the bit. So far, so good. They're able to take down Mango. We started off on an Echo. Now we're going to try their hands at a Soap.
Ooh, Nev is not going to see the next 10 seconds or so of this team fight here. Daddy Willie, with the help of their friends, of course, just squeezed over a hefty bit of damage with the first pick on this map. Microsoft Excelsior still fighting tooth and nail to try and find a way in edgewise.
Curious. Now I'm thinking back to my Overwatch history.
Pretty sure it was 2018.
Me too. Because Goats was dead by stage 3, and Shanghai Dragons won stage 3 with that big upset and destroyed Goats. There you go. 2-for-1 trade will favor Microsoft Excelsior on his attacks. Oh, that was some chunky Colad damage. Did an enormous amount to Spark there with that shot that took Daddy Willie down. It took a couple tries, but Microsoft Excelsior eventually will get this one done.
Yeah, let's talk about that play a little bit, right? So if you're Mango, you have a couple of different options. We've been talking so much about the split decisions that Microsoft Excelsior has employed so far is about when to fight and when to not, basically, right? A huge question that you're always going to be answering playing Overwatch. Talk a little bit about it more after.
Mango hiding all the way back to Jimothy, back behind this grab that went in from Senior Cheese. And that flanking position was good enough for a pair. Really, this was a Duster shot thrown in the grab, a beautiful combo. But without a tank to push through, Microsoft Excelsior might just get stalled out.
Touching pixels there onto the friendly Zenyatta. Up close and personal, you want no part of that Ramattra, I tell you that much. But this underpassage is usually pretty hard fought over. It looks like it might be kind of given over a little bit free right now to GM Alpha. Yeah, Reborn's kind of being left out by themselves, and that's just forced out the ultimate. That's going to immediately answer with Transcendence, and this will be Microsoft Excelsior all day long.
Yeah, I mean, it costs you double support ults to get it done, but, you know, you are able to take down the Annihilation, and Microsoft Excelsior winning back-to-back team fights here. It was expensive, and you're going to be up against it now running into a Sound Barrier and a Blizzard.
Yeah, so just briefly on the Mango play, right? You have the option of pushing forward and picking up heals along the way, but they just utilize that slide quickly and realize that they're in a precarious position. It's a great win. Maybe we'll look at a replay later. Nice purple right there. That's going to lead to the end of the Spark.
It's Javon. I mean, mean, how often do you see this double collect CDS look or support look in a Zenyatta? But it's given Excelsior a chance in this fight, but the Annihilation and the Overclock will quickly close the door on that opportunity.
Not exactly sure when Daddy Willie actually pulled this one. If this was to take out the 2 supports at the end, I gotta say that might be a wasted ultimate here. Mango's gonna be able to get back a little bit later. Quickly build that one up.
So those two of the most powerful ults, 2 of the 3, I'd say, in the server with the sound barrier and Blizzard and Graviton Surge, probably the other one up there. Team Alpha, they're able to stagger this out, layer the ultimate. Could be 2 enormous fight wins. The Blizzard is down. You got both the Bond and Nev were caught in that. But Spark does decide to go ahead and invest the sound barrier. I don't know that you needed the beat.
Yeah, so this is an attempt to try and use like kind of like that offensive beat, right? Like purchase yourself a little bit of space with everybody knowing that I got 400 spare health to kind of play around with right here. But especially given that like they don't right now have that Kitsune rush, right? If this is a smart Microsoft Excelsior play, we'll see them push really, really hard right here, knowing that there's probably going to be a gap between this portal.
Yeah, and they do have that grab. Nothing to really count. We'll see if the Kitsune's going to be enough. Maybe an aggressive Kitsune rush out of Razor Blade to try to hold the corner. No speed from Microsoft Excelsior, so they're not able to get everybody out. Nev just caught, but DPS traded. 4v4s, the Graviton Surge does come in. There's just no tool to really fight this off. The Kitsune not nearly enough to fend off all of that incoming damage. And Microsoft Excelsior will push in and pick up point B.
Yeah, nicely done. Nicely done. They do this with pretty much just that one. Mango had popped their ultimate a little bit before this grab did come out. And that, you just talk about value, right? Solo ultimate, full team wipe, purchase yourself a point and a little bit of time. Can't go wrong.
They're making it work on this game, G. Honestly, not what I expected to see in this composition, but hey. So far, so good. 78% to full 80, got a nano boost in the pocket. Either that or Transcendence could pair well with the Dragon Blade. They go with an opening pick. I mean, you don't have to worry about that shot. It's just a main you can start yourself with. And Shimano will take that down with a well-placed Bionade. Very surgical opening to this fight. No ultimates needed.
Wow. Yeah, and so Microsoft Excelsior come into this with nothing, just having used that one. Mango basically has theirs now in 1, 2, 3 players and growing 2 support ultimates and a DPS. Daddy Willie, Spark, both taken down in just absolute desperation mode there at the end. Not a whole lot that they can do, though, so that kind of makes sense there, Bull Skunk.
I mean, a superfluous, celebratory Dragon Blade with Nano and Transcendence. I mean, you had 3 ults in the pocket that were all just in case, and none of them were even necessary. That was quite the point C out of Microsoft. I mean, it looked like GM Alpha were doing a really good job of rotating their economy, had done a good job of kind of getting themselves back in on the back of that point B, eating some time off the clock. That's where you want to do it here in Kings. Thought they could, whittle some of that time down, but man, that was a lightning fast point C. I don't know that Microsoft lost I think they lost 1 player in that entire push.
On the very end, like after the second point opened up, I think you might actually be right, man.
Once they got into point C,
was not.
Once they got into point C, I think I saw 1 death.
Yeah, there really was not a whole lot of answers there for this GM Alpha squad. Once Microsoft Excelsior got down there, and the simple fact is kind of just harks back literally to what you said. They did it like coming into that last team fight. They were kind of close for all 3 players that weren't named that Zarya and that Sojourn, right? So they come into this one, even if they hadn't found the picks and had fallen right there, they still would have come back with all 3 ultimates and glowing. I 204, I feel like it could have been, 145 or something like that at the inside, but GM Alpha just needs to come up with an answer here.
1. Attackers incoming.
Ooh, okay. That answer is going to be Razor Blade on a Leon. Our first appearance of the newest hero here in Overwatch, the Waterbender. This is a very greedy backline. There's a lot of speed and a lot of damage. Not a lot of sustain.
First forms of any effect, any positive effect, I should say, that they will give. Forced to rotate here. Hey, here's the Hanzo we were talking about, right, Bull Skunk?
And we haven't seen We have seen a little bit of though. Very good. There you go. Burst damage, as I was about to say. Also has that Sonic arrow. Very good for scouting out rotations here. And you can see so far, Microsoft are unsurprised by anything GM Alpha has done in this attack. Give me the first minute has been eaten off this clock already.
Microsoft Excelsior holding strong right here. Now a switch onto the Ana. I mean, she really doesn't have that far to go, so I'm not against this by any means, Goldstone.
I mean, one good nade can turn the tide of the fight. Quad. So can one good arrow. Nev. Remember, Nev playing tank for the past couple of maps, by the way. Dragon's now unleashed right over the step. That's going to be enormous. Reborn backs right into it. Oh, what a play out of Nev.
Well, I mean, the theme of our conversations have been value from low or solo amounts of ultimates, right? One or none ultimates. One or less than one. You guys get what I'm saying. My point being that Nev just found everything that the doctor ordered right there. Anti-classic Dravigan through statue. This is, again, this has been going on since 2017, 2016 or so. The statue here does a great job of kind of masking the initial movement, even if he might be screaming, right?
I think he's just going to run in and assassinate the back line unimpeded. That's a 3-piece for Senior Cheese and another fight win out of Microsoft. Less than 2 minutes to go.
We're in this together.
Yeah, Daddy Willie, the experiment is
All
over
of
with.
us.
Widowmaker was not finding the value that they wanted it to. A little bit more of a standard look as of right now. The team is going to be rocking this Sojourn, and that's really the only similarities between the two. Oh my.
That puts a red X down on Daddy Willie.
I think I
Mango
can
sitting up
work
top with an
this.
OC charge, and you've got your bomb with an Ant Matrix just ready to go. Nev does get purple momentarily, and now Razor Blade and Rins have some ults to work with. We'll see how Alpha want to play that. Believe in an enormous grab. Roll to try to deny the follow-up, but Senior Cheese doesn't need help from anybody else to annihilate those three. Daddy Willie is able to pick up one with the Flora. Will it be enough? I mean, if you survive Reborn, you may be able to re-engage quickly here.
Yeah, that's actually a fantastic job. They really should have gotten to this. Daddy Willie has been providing a little bit of support from up here, but with the Baptiste ready to shoot down on high.
Yeah!
Wow, nicely done. Just jumped all over them. Immortality Field or not, there was not getting much getting through that rolling down.
I mean, this is like the 6th or 7th hero we've seen out of Daddy Willie in 3 maps. Gets that late trade in the previous fight. That's what set this whole thing up. Even though that fight didn't look great, Daddy Willie's able to get that kill, but look at the clap back! Mango's gonna get 2-3 with this overclock. The Blizzard gets nada. Microsoft holds, stabilized with a big team kill. 23 seconds to go.
Did Spark have that? I couldn't quite catch it. I'm not sure if Spark actually had that sound barrier coming into this team fighter. They just took my time once they'd actually gone to respawn room or so, right? If they held on to this during that, that is a deal of bad thing. That's perfect time.
Well, now Primal and Sound Barrier put directly on top of each other. You're going to get the barrage thrown in as well. Not ideal for GM Alpha. Feels a little desperate. Everybody hitting 2 at the same time, but the 3 ult investment will be enough to extend the clock.
Yeah, and at a certain point, it becomes an equation of how many times do you want to press Q for a W, right? Like, did you turn one key into the next, right? That was kind of one of those situations. And in a situation I'm not really against. This map feels very, very pivotal based on the previous results, right? GM Alpha did exactly what they needed to there in the previous round. They took it down. No, it wasn't easy, but they took it down. Okay, bam, tied series, right? But this Microsoft Excelsior squad has already 3-0'd them. That's got to be lurking in the minds of a little bit. They did exactly what they need to. Now it's time to turn the tide.
Down to this nano boost out of the auto. Razor Blade 9% away from that all-important ultimate. God, if you can get the Transcendence out first and not allow any value from Microsoft, that would be ideal. We've seen hints of that out of Reborn here, able to move in, kind of bait out some cooldowns. Not just oh, that's a big nade! Big nade under Senior Cheese. Might initiate this attack. Ends up going to trade on your DPS, and we do get the engagement. Nano boost thrown onto the Winston, and you get the Transcendence out of the backline, pretty much negating the entirety of that nano boost. Mango off of this high ground here has forced an interesting move from Reborn, and that leaves things wide open down low.
Yeah, so the ideal was going to be get anti out, right, and then allow Swoop to cook. Allow them to get that transition to basically win the team fight for you just on the back of sustain. That's what's going to happen here is GM Alpha's looking at sub 60 now, Bullskunk. And with nothing available, well, excuse me, okay, they're going to have the Deadeye here. That will be, I mean, that can be enough. It just, you need to create distractions at that point. It's going to bring the attention away from this Cassidy.
I mean, you might use the Deadeye to try to negate the grab or something like that, just to try to prevent follow-up. I think they're going to have to get clever. I don't think Rin's just swinging with the Deadeye is going to get it done. Nade down onto Satyr Cheese, does get some of the bubbles out. It's an important cooldown. There's the huge Graviton Surge in. Rin just hold on to it. They're just going to eat this grab and pray for the next fight to go their way.
Yeah, so I'm not even sure. Yeah, wow, they actually did pull it at the end. I mean,
yeah.
12 seconds to go. If you sit with your Lucio, you get up there. Now a Tracer switch. They might have actually had an opportunity to get back to this one. Well, no, Renzu's smelling in right now. I'm trying to do some quick math. It doesn't matter.
Sparks down. That's it.
Matter.
There's no touch.
Yeah.
Microsoft Excelsior will win their map pick, retake their lead.
I feel like this one goes all the way down to a situation of if there was an extra 3.5 seconds, 4 seconds, and they get a toe onto point, different story completely, and they still fight this one. But that is not the universe that we're living in right now. Folks, 2-1 lead here for Microsoft.
This ends now.
So for the third time in a row, the team that takes the map won the map.
On a roll.
Yep.
Very good shooting out of Mango. That was such a pivotal fight. That was such an important fight. You saw the Blizzard basically versus the Overclock, and you did what you wanted to do there. If you're GM Alpha, you're able to kind of push your defense back. You push Microsoft back into that choke, and then you want to throw the Blizzard on them once they've kind of been corralled a little bit into the corner. But Microsoft get aggressive. They explode out of that corner. They slide in with the OC, and you see the resulting 3-piece on top of it. So, well played. Well played. And Microsoft take a well-earned 2-1 lead here in your grand finals.
Yeah, and I have to believe that this is at least somewhat indicative, even if not the final scoreline, but it's somewhat indicative of how one of these matches went before, because it does seem like these two teams are very well acquainted with one another. When it comes to counter picks, when it comes, especially something wonky like the Pharah right there, right? It doesn't seem like there's any major surprises for a long period of time. I also want to go ahead and shout out some of the flexibility here, man. We've seen characters flex roles. We've seen about a half dozen DPS characters picked within the DPS role here. Everything is coming out for the grand finals here for the CEA grands. Love it.
On both sides, too, right? I mean, we're
Yes.
really seeing it out of both teams as well. I think Mango's Sojourn really stole the day in that map, but we're also seeing it out of the back line even, where, I mean, I think Swoo has been such a standout to me so far on this day, and that versatility out of the back line. When's the last time you saw, just a butt-kicking Zenyatta in the battlefield? You know, that is bucking against the trends is what that is, and it worked beautifully. That extra damage output was spectacular, but truly hyper flexible on both sides of the coin here.
Yeah, and Nev, right, was playing tank earlier, played a little bit DPS, then played on this Hanzo, and I gotta say, damn near won this first point for the Microsoft Excelsior squad, right?
Yeah.
This really boils down to them not having enough time after point 1 because 90 seconds? I genuinely feel 90 seconds, about 3 team fights and initial respawns and come out here were purchased by Nev finding headshots early and just forcing them, okay, we're not going to fight this 4-5. Our respawn room is right there, and it's only a few seconds away to wait for our 5th player to come back, and then they do it again. And then they do it again, Bullskunk. Literally, through about 3 team fights in a row. And the first one, they took 2 picks. The next 2 was just the initial pick, and then they got chip damage on the next for a elimination or 2 here. Which I'm shaking my head, dismissing it, but this is also that's also how Ultimate is built up, right? So literally everything that they did right here was just plinking and plunking all the way into a W. If it wasn't massive value immediately in the form of the Red X, form of the immediate eliminations.
Just to further exacerbate the flexibility, we're going to see Nev go back into the tank role here for map 4. So we are actually going to get Frankie coming back in the DPS. Hopefully, I don't know if we're going to get the hotspot buff is still in play here. Who knows? But we are going to see Nev, looks like, returning into that tank role. On the other side, Sherlock Schmo is returning in as well. So we saw that Hyperflex worked out really well. Yeah, subbing in for Spark that back line showed us a little bit of a double flex support look where it appears to us that Spark is kind of the main support player, kind of your dedicated Lucio player.
Yep.
And so this, we might see that double flex support look once again here out of GM Alpha. Hey, I mean, they were able to win it with this look before, so they were able to win that map too.
Yeah. It's hard to mess with success, and what I mean by that is not just like as a full 5, right? And what I mean is specifically, basically, what we've been talking about this entire time was the individual hero selection. It just kind of seems like Spark did a minorly better job than Sherlock when it came to just staying alive. Like the very, very basic human thing that is the support act of needing to stay alive, heal up your squad all the way through. Let's go ahead and check these out now as we wait for this match to start.
And unsurprising, right? When you have somebody who's like a Lucio specialist, like that is what Lucio does best, is just being elusive and being hard to kill. It's an Esperanza pick here out of GM Alpha as we head into map 4. More ground and pound. They chose Busat, has been basically the team who has picked the map, won the map.
Not much basically to it. Yeah, no, that's exactly how it goes, and I like how that is providing the value, right? Again, just joining us, what loser picks the map, winner picks the side or the server location. Given that we haven't heard anything about server location, I'm going to take a wild guess, Bullskunk, and say that these two teams are located decently near each other, and there's no real advantage when it comes to that server location.
Yeah, there was a little bit of talk at the top of the series about being mostly East Coast and Central based. Is kind of what we figured out. Which Blizzard, I mean, kind of behind the scenes stuff, but Blizzard actually has multiple server locations where like a lot of games don't, like Rocket League doesn't have a central server location. Blizzard has like servers all over the country.
There's a central server now in Rocket League, but
did they actually put a central server in Rocket League?
How long? How many years? Rocket League
a
came
decade.
Out in, like, 2015.
A decade.
Like it was really surprising, but yes, they did finally do that. I got to stick up for Rocket League. You know,
I'm impressed.
They finally did it, but yes, there are central servers.
That was long overdue. They needed a central server.
Long overdue, bro.
Anyway, so yeah, we don't think ping is going to be much of an issue for our teams here today, or has been. Outside of, we had Frog Key with a little bit of connection issues at the top of the series.
Yeah, and these happen too, right? Could be individual, could be whatever else. Like, hey, who knows? Maybe upgrade it to the McDonald's Wi-Fi, right? Headed on down the corner. I'm playing around, of course. Point opening up in about 5 seconds. Take a look at the competition. First time we'll see a Roadhog in either of these teams.
Not the first time seeing Soldier 76. Not the first time seeing Anakiri either. None of this is typical, by the way, friends. But G and Alpha made it work. Back on Busat, a beautiful sweep on to Nev. Could cause problems. Zarya, one of your lowest health pulls in the entire game. Once you work through those bubbles, Zarya actually quite vulnerable. Suzu cleans off the purple. Yeah, as you mentioned, protection there. We're still in a 5v5. Only 1 minute into Esperanza.
Great job
from trouble.
Literally just holding on to these bubbles for every time this Reborn. Take on the other side, doesn't get these hooks in. Might even get first shot off, but they're not going to get the melee. Get the player just a little bit closer here, and this is a just microwave on. 30 seconds, add 30 seconds, add 30 seconds. Nev is absolutely cooking right now. Have they gone like under 80 since we started looking at them?
So they were just staying pretty fully charged. Sound barrier now in for Javad to try to win out the 4 before it never runs up to the high ground to help clean it off alongside Mango and Swoo. And the balance finally tilted. I thought we were on like old school Coliseum there for a moment. Took 2 minutes to get through that first team fight.
Get the swords, get the shields, rally the troops. Yes, old school stuff right there, right? Still 94, 95. Nev is. This is the end of the team fight. Team fight's been over for like the main team fight's been over for a while. Still rocking 80s.
A very quick nano engage. They are coming back into this fast. Oh, Maria quite fine today. Grab throwing in. That's going to catch 2, 3 in it. Nah, it was both Razor and Reborn are down. Kitsu to help protect the point. The heavy investment from Microsoft throwing in both the Kitsune Rush and the Graviton Surge, but it's good enough to get him checkpoint.
Yeah, a heavy investment. Again, if we want to start nitpicking a little bit at a squad that is ahead right now, 2-1 in the series, of course, and has done fantastic things across this final bracket. One of the things I'd have to point out is the double commit on the support.
Honestly surprised that Blizzard made it out. That almost got canceled back by her now. And Daddy Willie layers in a third ultimate for GM Alpha. And they decide, hey, we too can all hit Q at the same time. They're able to steal the bot, but they don't quite win the fight. Microsoft are setting up here for a very quick re-engagement and jump down off the high ground from does not make it all the way down. Dies at 96% of the way. Mango has the overclock off the high ground. He's already got 2. Followed up with a kill on for Reborn and another fight win here out of Microsoft Excelsior.
The DPS here for Microsoft Excelsior just absolutely cooking. Frokeep, plenty of Reaper earlier, other players as well. Mango has been doing fantastic things for the Sojourn, finding that mid-range chip damage in very, very well. Rinzu's going to have an easier time. Does get chased a little bit, going to have an easier time getting back with the rest of their squad. But now the element of surprise is over, Bullstone.
Right click. Yeah, and it's never quite recovers from that. It did not get the resources needed. Mango's able to chase down that kill off of that initial burst of damage. Now Blade in 5v4. Granted, of whiffs entirely, but
Whoa.
still Reborn is able to catch Frunky and devalue the Blade. We're going to get the Juno Orbital thrown onto the point to try to stabilize here. Ren's low, but is able to raise form in with the bubble heals out of the Juno to try to chase down the kills. That's going to be a late grab invested by Devin trying to swing this fight. The one-for-one trade is able to get Daddy Willie swapping freshly over onto the Sombra. Somewhere now invested in. Microsoft thinks this is winnable. Frunky's able to get 2. Maybe they are right. No way they swing such a deficit.
No, okay, I was about to say, Reborn right here was dedicating a lot. Every bubble that they had was getting blown out there. Microsoft Excelsior, a fantastic job. Reborn, looked like they were gonna put the entire squad on the back, man. I was here for it. It was all for naught, though, unfortunately.
Willie is still kind of lurking behind the team. They just get disengaged here out of Excelsior. They didn't have the resources to stick around. They did some fantastic progress here, leading 122-0 as he hit the halfway mark as far as time. Dashing into the back line. Froggy didn't have any resources left there. Kitsu in play for both of our teams in this 4v4. GM Alpha, though, missing their sustain, missing their Kiriko. And once again, it's Mango who tilts the balance. Mango has just been so good on this Sojourn. I mean, really making an argument for MVP here.
Yeah, my question is, how do you shut this down? I mean, there's clear counters, but the rest of the Microsoft Excelsior squad seems like they have the support for those counters if you just pick out one of the classic ones from Sojourn. Quickly, what is it that this squad can do to kind of bring this one back in the brink?
Oh, Reborn gets stuck behind enemy line. Disastrous turn for GM Alpha. The overclock from Mango. 2 taps, Razor Blade. 2 taps, Rinzu. Just nothing you can do here if you're GM Alpha. And this one's all done but the crying tugboat. Microsoft Excelsior move up to championship point.
Man, oh man. I guess the answer to that question is not too much for this General Motors squad. They, Mango's got to be shut down in the future. Obviously, it'll depend on what map they go to see if this is a Sojourn character that can find value in the future. But this character is simply, or this player on this character, I should say, simply has to be answered.
And where we talked about versatility really being a hallmark of both of these teams, it's Mango sticking with this Sojourn. I mean, it's kind of been a tried and true hero here in Overwatch 2. Has kind of always been powerful, always been a staple. Man, Mango making fantastic use of that consistent damage output. We are really starting to take over here, as is Microsoft Excelsior. Now up 3-1 in your first of 4. 1 map win away from claiming your Fall 25 championship. It'll be GM Alpha's map pick when we go into map 5. We'll see what they want to do. We're going to take a quick break, give them time to decide. Can they turn this one around? We'll find out when we return. Don't go away. It's a 3-1 lead here for Microsoft as they are now on championship point heading into map 5. The Excelsior looking to claim the championship here, though they're going to have to do it on yet another GM Alpha map pick you're talking about.
That's very true. Very true. This is a squad. Took down this General Motors Alpha squad 3-0 in losers finals, trying to rewrite history and bring this one back from the brink. It's General Motors Alpha. Taking a look at our compositions, at least what we've got right here, looks like we're back to the standard 5 that we got to begin with. Rinzu, Daddy Willie, Reborn Spark, and Razorblade Bullskunk.
Yeah, it's going to be Spark coming back in for that main support role here for GM Alpha. Worked for him in their map 2 pick on Busan. Not so much there on Ishparad. So what a one-sided push map that was. You know what though? GM Alpha have already bested history in that they've been able to take a map. That's something nobody had done previously in this. So you know what? There is some signs of life, some signs of hope out of this GM Alpha squad. We'll see what they do heading into their map 5 pick here. It looks like we're headed to Dorado here for our fifth map.
Dorado. Love it. Another classic. Another absolute classic here. Twisty Turvy all the way through. Just some classic, man. Get next to a payload. Don't leave it until you get to the end, right? Nice and basic Overwatch. Let's see. Talking about compositions here. Hey, I mean, we saw some Pharah, right? Pharah can definitely reign supreme on Dorado.
Oh, yeah. You can play around. You play A and B in particular. Play around the rooftops. You can have a lot of room to work there. Of course, Dorado tends to be very high ground oriented. We've seen a variety of looks and compositions. We've seen a bit of the brawl out of GM Alpha, where we've seen him try to play into like into this May cast kind of look. We've also seen him try to play a little bit more dive. I think either of those could work here. I think I would like to see them go back into more of the dive looks. I feel like GM Alpha looks more coordinated when they were able to back up, especially when they were able to back up Daddy Willie.
I gotta agree with you. There was some straight up exciting team fights when this squad was running that Winston right down the middle, sectioning out heroes, creating space and creating divisions in the lines of the other squad, and continuously finding value. There we go. Reborn, at least showing Winston as of right now. A little bit of diva action on the other side. Know how that matchup will frequently go. And a defensive diva as well. Lifeweaver will show their face for the first time. And I don't think we've seen an Echo yet.
We've seen an Echo. We haven't seen the Ashe, though. We very briefly, saw an Echo in the previous map. It wasn't for very long. It was for one team fight. But I do want to highlight that Ashe got a little bit of a buff, and this is the perfect map where it could be noticeable, because Ashe got her range extended in this most recent patch, and you might, that extra 10 meters could be the difference maker here on Dorado.
Very true. Very true. Distance definitely kill with some of these medium range heroes like that Ashe. Little diva on diva action. I think that's the future, right? Mechs fighting against each other? I don't know.
we do see GM Alpha go back into a little more of this dive look that I was talking about. So, Willie coming out in the Sombra. I don't think we've seen the Rinzu Tracer the other day. It was favoring a little bit more of the Reaper earlier in this series. A high mobility comp out of GM Alpha. Right now, they're going to have to regroup. Health bar's looking a little low as they're struggling to get out of this opening area.
Little bit of pressure on the Razorblade. We'll get assisted with the rest of the squad as GM Alpha just kind of continues to push point. This is another massive chokehold that is generally not given over so easily, Bullskunk.
No, it was just a lot of mobility. GM Alpha just, instead of getting the kills, they buy space for cart pressure. So they move the cart forward enough that Excelsior have to respect it, have to back up. Then the high ground attack here out of GM Alpha. They're able to find a kill out of Chabot. What a optimal pick. Takes away a lot of your rotation ability, a lot of your just options. And you can see Swoo had none left. We're trying to back out from the moment Chabot went down, but still not able to find solace. And a very nice attack here out of GM Alpha. They're moments away from the cap. Oh, they get the contested at .27.
Deco gonna get there. That's a great first shot. Now Nev super low at the back. Gonna be losing that one. Reborn's back into theirs. We have 4.5 players here for Microsoft Excelsior. Make it 3. Mango down. Huge source of damage. That Ashe 0.27 meters away. and the offense is not going to be able to close.
Yeah, 27 centimeters. Neither Chabon or Swoo are leaving that cart. You know, they know they have a Sovereign and Tracer on the other side. Not to mention Sparkle that Lucio. They are not seeing eye in this thing. It's going to be an Echo Dude to get in to start things off. The defense choosing to invest first. As the double team, they move up to try to chase Reborn away. The Doppelganger will lose their mech. But finding a kill on a Daddy Willie means GM Alpha have to just gotta sit back, wait for that respawn.
Yeah, no, so the value was still there. The copy didn't really find much on the backside besides really definitively into that team fight, right? Which in and of itself can be big. Daddy Willie taken down again. This is not an ideal way to start now 2 team fights with sub 2 minutes.
I mean, we're still on first EMP, right? Like, we're gonna go 3 minutes into this map, and Willie still has not gotten their first open online. It's gonna be a self-destruct out of Reborn. You've lost Razor Blade already. You can't Rocky with that. You're getting self-destruct kills in the big 25. That's a miracle. Ned with a beautiful placement on their own. Gets a D-Mech, and GM Alpha are gonna struggle here.
So Reborn's not going to have that one. Nice eat on the backside. No Tracer ultimate for you, my friend. Nev repped that out perfectly. And now, why wouldn't I get aggressive? Free space, I'll take it. They got to get down to this one. Chabon finished again, so finished first again. Now is Swoo done. Yeah, some healing core now deleted from Microsoft Excelsior. This should be a dog walk easily on a Sunday.
We're still going to try to invest the Bob into this. I don't think that is really going to help. I don't think it's going to do much. You're trying to hold violent at times, you're going to recontest at the very end. But it was a beautiful play out of Rinse to find the kill on Chabon that sets up the out of Daddy Willie. Now Daddy Willie is slept on the point. You get a kill on that'd be enormous. Both Soundbarriers will land. Rocky nano boosted, but that's going to fade. Now they're getting forced off. Reborn will chase them away. And there's 3 centimeters separating GM Alpha from more time. Spark goes down. Reborn D-Max. Willie is taken out of this fight. And Microsoft Excelsior are going to hold at .03. Yes. No shot.
Wow.
No shot.
That is pretty insane right there. Even found a couple of picks. Now, are you sure it's 3 centimeters, right? Because you have to divide by 12 if it's, right?
What?
I'm just kidding. I am highlighting.
Are you making fun of the Imperial system?
There you go. There you go. We take those shots where we can get them in. This is,
fair enough.
Man, that is a fascinating foot forward here for this Microsoft Excelsior squad. I mean, they choose defense first, and they basically, not basically, they do shut down first point. 0.03, meters, centimeters, whatever away is not there. It is not up to this one. No extra time, no point for the cap. Crazy stuff, man. Obviously, we see close holds like all the time, but the way in which they were able to do this and just like barely touch with the Lucio initially, the rest of the team gets there, and then both sound barriers hit, right? Thereby saying, basically deciding a contract saying, okay, this game fight is going to go on for another 3 seconds at least, right? Like nobody's dying, nobody's going to die for a couple of seconds, and that's just enough. That is just barely enough for Microsoft Excelsior to get on the point.
What I talked about, investing the Bob. The Bob seems so foolish. Like, okay, you're going to buy another, maybe half a second at most on that Bob kind of running past to the cart? That half a second was everything.
It's true. It felt like a great call in the moment. I definitely agreed with you, but, when it all shook out, right, it seemed like this Ash just seeing the future.
I mean, you don't get a stop at like 1/4 of a meter and then a stop at 3/100ths of a meter. Like, that is insane. That is insane if you're able to get 2 big stops at less than half a meter on both of them. To set up Microsoft for this championship. Now, this first fight's not going so well. At least not until Mango finds that answering pick. 4v4, both teams missing a DPS.
That is a very, very low diva that's really only going to have, for the right now, just that Lucio and the Kiriko now finally joining. Ooh, super low, man. Renzu trying to find that edge damage on this Winston as they were jumping out. That would got to feel like a major switch in this one. Poor damage into the Winston as of right now as the rest of General Motors Alpha is just trying to rotate either down bottom, pick up heals, get away from this, or towards the more staunch area of offense.
Unfortunately for GM Alpha, the cart has completely gotten away from them, which should have been a 2-fight scenario, has quickly slipped between their fingers. And I think that's just the GG's. Now, do we, I thought that before, but we're not going to get any .03s here. Nevs is making the call. Microsoft Excelsior are your champions.
Nicely done. $600 going the way of the charity of their choice, of course, for Microsoft Excelsior. That is the 988 Suicide Crisis Hotline. Never tarry, fret not, dear viewer. General Motors Alpha, not only did they do a fantastic job, and they did take a map off of this squad. Oh, there's that .27 second hold, wasn't it?
There you go. I don't know if that extra
Crazy
10
stuff.
meters was the difference maker enough, but Mango was certainly a difference maker throughout this series. I think it's going to get my nod for your player of the match here. I mean, really, it was the Soldier. We saw a lot of versatility here today, a lot of fun compositions, a lot of back and forth of, I mean, oh my goodness. It's rare that you get to see so many different heroes playing. It's a lot of fun to watch, but Mango settled into that Soj, and then we see her in this deciding final map 5, that Ashe. Yeah, really to me stood out more than any other in this outstanding performance. Congrats to Excelsior. Your fall 25 CEA champions.
Yeah, the question, like, it was a mild question of Nev, at least for that squad for MVP, like for a little while there.
The
Senior
Nev
Cheese, when
Hanzo?
they came in, they did great, but Senior Cheese just didn't play enough to really be considered, in my opinion, given that what we saw Mango, we saw Nev pretty much the entirety of these 5. And when they did play, it was completely shut down. But Nev playing on the Hanzo, yes, but again, like if they'd been doing that all five rounds, then it wouldn't even be a question. But the way that Mango was consistently providing pressure for their squad, like all the way through all 5 of these rounds, even within the L, that's really what will get the hat tip for me. On the other side, it might have to go Reborn, the tank. Like, if we had to give superlatives, we have to give some flowers here for General Motors. That did put up a fantastic fight here, especially, again, taking down that map in map number 2. And have to go over towards Reborn. A lot of these team fights were won off the back of this tank, just straight up.
Well, yeah, I can see that. I can't argue with that one bit. Can't argue with that one bit. Honorable mention to Swoo. Swoo was top notch there in that back line, by the way. Honorable mention to Swoo. Yeah, instrumental. First 3 maps, I felt like we're all Swoo. First 3 maps were all Swoo. What a series! What a series! There you go. We have crowned yet another champion. We have raised more money here for charity, and I shook my camera violently there. I was so excited. I got so excited.
Yeah, $300 going to the Nature Conservatories there. That is the benefactor of General Motors Alpha Overwatch competition here on the day. Again, big shout out to the 988 Suicide and Crisis Hotline. That will be $100 going on over towards the Red Hat Chili Peppers. I got to pronunciate all those out, or I'll mess it up, right? $100 going to the charity of their choice, which I don't have in front of me as of right now, unfortunately. Let's take a look at our bracket as of right now. So, yeah, I mean, you guys can see it. A bunch of 3-0 sweeps, except for that game the General Motors Alpha and Red Hat Chili Peppers were involved in the first semifinal there, the semifinal 2. They would go forth, of course, and play again in that losers finals. But it was GM Alpha that was part of the only matches of this entire bracket here they would see anything but a 3-0 sweep.
And big hats off and congratulations once again, you Microsoft Excelsior, you're champions. Our first champions here in fall 25. We've got a lot more going on. This is the first of many. So yeah, y'all keep an eye out. Y'all be sure and come back. We've got all kinds of titles to play for, a bunch of wonderful charities to play for as well. I want to give a special shout out to Amazon Luna, your sponsor here for today. Also to Rhino behind the scenes, who's been keeping Tugboat and myself looking good, keeping us on track. No small feat, mind you, no small feat. But yeah, thank y'all so much for hanging out with. Most importantly, we appreciate y'all being here. It's been this wonderful day with us. It's been a blast. It's been good to see y'all again. Y'all come back. There'll be more CEA champions to crown here, but that's going to do it for us today. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Goodbye, friends.